Hello and welcome to day 18 of the Halloween Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing 20 brand new Halloween themed Cricut paper crafts with you over 20 days. We're almost at the end now, and today we're making this Happy Halloween greetings card. See, it opens up and it's got this fun shaped edge which follows the letters down the side. If you've been following along with this countdown, you'll know that some of these videos were recorded when I have a bit of a rotten cold and a very, very weird sounding voice. This is another one of those videos, so I'm sorry that I don't quite sound as I should. However, this is probably going to be one of the quickest videos out of the whole countdown, so at least you won't have to listen to it for long. So without any further ado, let's jump straight in and get started at making this Happy Halloween greetings card. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Halloween Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/HCC24. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/HCC24 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Halloween Craft Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. The download comes in a zip folder. You will need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. This is what the card design looks like when it's loaded into Cricut Design Space. If you're not sure how to get your file into Design Space, go back to the schedule page for the Halloween Craft Countdown and look in the Foundation Learning section near the top of the page. In there is a link to a separate tutorial on how to upload SVG files into Cricut Design Space. The nice thing about this card is it should load in at the right size, which is just under 10 inches wide and around 7 inches tall. Don't worry that it looks like it's a little bit more than 7 inches. That's actually just because I couldn't quite get the alignment of the black piece on the purple piece quite right. It should be that the black fits right inside the purple, but for some reason it's putting it overlapping a little bit. But if you go down and click on the purple layer itself, you can see that's exactly 7 inches, and the black one is just under 7 inches. So this card will fit in a standard 5x7 envelope when it's all made. If you'd rather make your own envelope, check out that Foundation Learning section on the schedule page again. There's a separate link in there to some free envelope SVGs and how to cut them, and also how you can even use your Cricut machine to write the addresses for you. Now, unless you want to change any of the colours, there's nothing you really need to do to this card unless you happen to have a scoring wheel or scoring stylus for your Cricut machine, in which case adding a score line down the middle of the purple bit of card will make it much easier to fold in half. I do have a scoring stylus, so I'm going to do that for my card. So I'll click on the whole design and ungroup it by pressing the ungroup button at the top of the layers panel. And then click and drag that purple piece and scroll down just so it's separate from everything else. Go into shapes and choose a score line. Set it to 7 inches tall, which is the height of the card, and then you can drag a box around the score line and the purple piece to select them both. Go align and then center to put the score line in the middle, but we're not quite done yet. We need to tell the Cricut we want it to do the scoring on that purple card. To do that, with both of those layers still selected, press Attach at the bottom of the Layers panel. Attach is what tells the Cricut where to do the score. You can leave it down here if you want to, because it doesn't really matter where things end up, but I like to put it back into place. It's now showing on top of everything else. To move it to the bottom, go Arrange, Center Back, and then there we go, our card is now looking perfect. So I'll go ahead and press Make over on the top right, and this will separate out all the colours for me. I just want to draw your attention to this happy word. This is very, very thin. You can cut it from cardstock, which is what I've done for my card, but if you're struggling with it tearing, or if you're worried about having to try and get glue onto the underside of this piece of card, you could cut this particular layer from vinyl instead, either adhesive vinyl or heat transfer vinyl, to put onto your cardstock. Adhesive vinyl would probably work best because everything's connected. You can just peel it off of your vinyl backing, just like a sticker. You won't need to use any transfer tape. But you could use heat transfer vinyl if you want to. Just make sure when you press, you only need to do it for around 5 to 7 seconds and it will still transfer just fine. And you don't need to press quite as hard as you might if you're ironing it onto a material, for example, a t-shirt. Just remember, if you do use heat transfer vinyl, you will need to mirror it to flip the design by clicking this mirror icon there, so it will cut it in reverse. But for cardstock or adhesive vinyl, you don't need to mirror. You could also cut it from Cricut's Smart Cardstock, which is self-adhesive cardstock, or any other self-adhesive white cardstock that you might have, and that would be quite nice because then it would cut, then you could just peel the backing off and stick it. But I'm doing it the most complicated way possible, which is by cutting it from regular cardstock, and then I'm going to put my glue on the back to glue it onto my card. Everything else, as you can see, is much easier. You can change the paper size in here. I'm going to go for A4, and then if you want to, you can click and drag to move things about to take up less space on your cardstock. You'll need to do that for each colour, so go ahead, get your sheets looking as you want them to, then press continue to connect to your Cricut and get everything cut out from cardstock, apart from maybe that white happy word, which you might decide to do from vinyl instead. Here are all the pieces of my card cut out, and I folded my base card down that score line. So I've got a nice crisp fold here. The first thing to do is to glue on this piece with all of those little details on. The glue I'm using is Bearly Art Glue. I also like Collall. These are great glues because they don't bend or wrinkle the card like some glues can do. I'll turn this over and add my glue to the back. I'm trying to get my glue around most of these parts and all the sort of sticky out bits because I don't want it to accidentally be caught, for example, when coming out the envelope, and to rip once the card is made. So I'm just taking my time, not too long because the glue does dry quite quickly, but just a little bit of time, making sure all those sticky out bits have got a bit of glue on them. And then I can put this on. You can line it up by using the little sticky out bit here to know where to put it. And then these bits of spider web down the side should be right up against the crease. There's a thin purple border around all those letters on the right hand side. I'm gently pushing down because I don't want my glue to smush out, although it does dry clear. I've done it in a couple of places, a little bit there and a little bit there, but I don't think that'll notice once it's dried. And then next we've got the letters to go on top, and it's up to you if you want to glue these on or if you want to give your card a little bit of dimension with some foam squares. I'm going to go the foam square route, so here are the ones I'm using from Dot & Dab, but any will do. If yours are bigger, you might have to cut them smaller with a pair of scissors. I've got a pack already open here, and I've laid out my letters to make sure I'm putting them on in the right order, but you can also match them to the black piece underneath to know that you're putting the right one in the right place. And these are fairly thin, which is why I said you may need to cut your foam squares smaller. These ones actually fit pretty perfectly, so that's good. I might need to cut some smaller for maybe the ease. Now I can peel the backs off to reveal the stickiness underneath. And then this goes onto the black, but you'll have a little black border that goes around the edge of all the letters. So it doesn't go right up against the edge of the black, it sort of sits in the middle of it. And for this top row, I'm going to do the L next because the A comes with this bit to stick the happy on, so that will work best if it's stuck on after the L, so that this can go on top of that L. So I'll turn this one upside down. I'm doing the yellow L along the top. See, this bit's narrow. I think I'm going to need to cut these smaller now. They're really easy to cut. Just grab a pair of scissors, go straight down a row. Much easier to cut than they are to stick on once you've cut them this small. Now that'll fit right in there. Peeling the tops off is also quite tricky when you've cut them that small. Long fingernails are great. Okay, once again, that goes in the middle of the black, like that. And now I could do the A. I'll need my small bits again to go in here. And the reason for having the happy on this A is so that it'll give us something level to stick the actual kind of black and white happy bits to. Make it easier to do that bit later on. If you don't fancy playing about with these teeny tiny bits of foam square, then just glue the letters on instead. Your card will still end up looking really nice. And it'll probably be cheaper to post because it will be thinner. You see, I've actually made a mistake on this. I shouldn't have put the foam in here is fine because that's going to touch up on the black. So that foam in that bit's fine. But on this one, I've put some foam where it's going to touch the green, which I don't want to do. Otherwise, it's going to raise that little tail up higher than everything else. So what I'll do instead is just sort of see where it sits. Add a tiny bit of glue onto the green. And then, oh, I've also got that bit of foam in the way. Okay, there's my first row done. So now I'm going to pause this video, give my voice a little break, and carry on and get the rest of these stuck on, and then I'll come back and we'll do the happy part together. Here's my card with all of those letters stuck on. I love how they show up against the black and the purple. It's really nice and colourful. And then next we've got the 2 layers for the happy to go on. So we've got the black one first, and you can either glue this or foam square it on. If you glued your Halloween letters, it would be nice to foam square at least just this one so you have a little bit of depth on your card, but you can still glue it too. It is completely up to you. I think I'm going to glue it because I've already used the 1 layer of foam and I don't want it to become too thick that it gets more expensive to post. And if you think this bit's tricky, wait until a happy text to go on top. Now, this is super narrow. So you may have cut this from vinyl instead, which would probably have been a smart move. I'm just being so gentle with my glue, barely even touching it. Just gently running it over to get a little bit of glue. Oh, and you can actually really see that. Sorry, I was holding that off the screen. Sometimes I forget because this area you can see is actually quite a long way away from me. I'm sort of reaching out. So sometimes I hold it a little bit too close without noticing. Especially when I'm doing something intricate or small. Doesn't help that I'm really short-sighted, so I like things to be nice and close to my eyes. Gently drop it down. Yeah, doing this bit with vinyl would have been a lot easier. I quite like using heat transfer vinyl on cardstock. Oh, it's a little messy, but it will dry clear. I'm just going to use my fingernail to tidy it up a little bit. And that's not quite where I want it to go. Oh, I'm dropping everything. Not quite where I want it to go, so I'll just use a weeding tool. Push it while the glue's still wet. You might find it easier to use tweezers when putting this bit in place. I cannot figure tweezers out. I can't pick anything up with them. Okay, now I'm just using my weeding tool to clear off any bits of glue I can see. You don't have to neaten it up, but I just like it not having these blobs of glue on if I can help it. I mean, I should probably be doing this into a bit of kitchen towel or something, not my fingers, because I'm going to end up with lots of glue stuck on me. But that's okay. And now we have it. Happy Halloween! With that lovely shaped edge, all ready for the message to go inside. I hope that you enjoyed this video on how to make a Happy Halloween card with your Cricut machine. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for day 19 of the Halloween Craft Countdown. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!